communication with the executive is vital towards the success of security risk management. The process of speaking with them requires a unique approach. Now, welcome to Security Nuggets Podcast, your one-stop channel for security risk insights and fresh perspectives. And I'm your host, Ashley, your security risk consultant. We continue with this discussion where we are engaging on a sequel of effective communication and collaborative effort within organizations. In our previous episode, we unpacked on why this is very important, and we also touched on the three main parties we find ourselves engaging with on matters security management. And one was governance, where we had executive and senior leadership who are instrumental towards decision making, and two, teams. These are personnel who are important for inputting those daily tasks and operations and activities toward the overall goal of implementing security programs, security systems and measures, as well as stakeholders. I would kindly encourage you to have a look at our previous episode, which I have pinned in the description below. On this episode, we start off by engaging on the party of governance. When we are communicating with the executive and senior leadership, now these are very busy people. They don't have time to waste. Therefore, when we are communicating with them, we don't need to waste their time. They don't have time for reading long reports. They don't have time to sit in for long presentations. No, we have to be strategic about how we go about it to get their attention, to have them to listen to us, to have them to see our reasoning, for us to be able to speak their language, and for us to be in a position whereby we are using our security expertise to drive change within our organizations. I will be sharing 5 essential strategies that you can get to utilize to enhance on your communication, as well as increase on your collaborative engagement with the executive within your organization. The first strategy that we're going to be discussing is one, adopting the mentor pyramid approach. The mentor principle infers that the initial point of communication should be the conclusion. It states that you should begin by recommending and then proceed to share your evidence to support your recommendation or your idea. The mentor pyramid breakdown has 3 critical steps. Step 1, start with your key statement. This means that when you're communicating with your executive, you should begin by sharing your solution or your idea. That is how you get to grab their attention. This means that you will be placing your recommendations and conclusions at the beginning of your communication. The second step is to support your key statement. At this point, you've acquired your executive attention, and it is time for you to support that key statement with the important argument. Provide a concise and precise answer to the why behind your key statement. This is because clear and precise arguments help your executive better understand and accept your messages. Step 3, address less important details. At this point, your executive have all the relevant information to react accordingly, okay? You've already captured their attention and shared your solution and idea. You've gone ahead to expand that with your supporting arguments. And now, at this point, you can only share any supplementary information where possible. If there is time for that, you can provide extra supplementary information. But the key component of that communication has already happened in step 1 and 2, right? So those are the 3 critical steps under the mentor pyramid theory of communication. 1, start with the key statement. 2, support that key statement. And 3, Address less important information. The second strategy is having a business mindset. Understanding business finance and business management ensures that we appreciate the value and the cost implication of the recommendations that we are giving. We covered this topic in depth in a previous episode, which I have linked in the description below, where we engaged on the principles of budget allocation and finance in security management. Kindly have a look at that as well. I think it will be very helpful for you when it comes to improving your communication and engaging on that collaborative effort with your executive. It will help you enhance on your business acumen, and you will get to understand why sometimes when the executive are making decisions aligned to finances and budget allocation, what influences, what impacts on those decisions. Okay. Now, the third strategy is being goal-oriented. Be the professional and the performer who is goal-driven and goal-oriented, okay? Now, if you want to get your executives' attention and if you want them to be keen on your communications, whether you're doing it via presentation or by written reports, be that performer who is goal-driven and oriented. This means that when you're communicating whereas you're looking at the bigger picture, you're looking at the bigger vision. And the best way for us to do this is to make sure that in our communication, we are always aligned to the organizational goals, okay? How are our recommendations aligning to the organization goals? The solutions and ideas that we are providing, how are they going to help the organization achieve all its goals? Are they going to be of value? Are they going to help the organization maintain its competitive edge? And once we are able to demonstrate that, then we are able to make sure that our communication gets the executive's attention. The fourth strategy is establish and develop a good rapport with your senior executive. All right? It's very important. It's very important. And how you can get to achieve this is, by one, ensuring that when you're communicating and articulating yourself to them, you're doing this confidently. You are sure of what you're talking about. You're certain of what you're communicating about. And if you seem like you're lacking confidence, then they will not be able to be confident of whatever recommendations you're passing to them. So you need to be certain of what you're talking about. You need to be confident of what you're presenting. Also, you need to have an in-depth knowledge and background of the topic of discussion. Whatever is it that you're discussing with your executive, you need to be well informed about it. You need to be well versed in it. You need to have a good background about it, okay? So that you can be on top of it, okay? Recommended. So you need to make sure that whenever you're having those discussions with the executive, they need to be discussions that you're well versed on. You have an in-depth knowledge and background about those discussions. Take your time to understand the topic of discussion. Take your time to do your research. Take your time to gather information that's relevant, that's going to be relevant within that conversation of communication. It's very important. The fifth strategy is that develop good report writing skills. If you're not already writing good reports that clearly articulate whatever it is you're communicating through them to your executive, then you need to improve on those skills. You need to enhance on those skills. This is very important, especially if you're in a role that is within management or leadership, or if you're aspiring to grow within your career, if you're aspiring to get those promotions and get into management level, you need to be able to communicate through written reports. Now, the thing with reports, the executive sometimes don't have time to read a whole report. And that is why it is very important for you to know how to write a report that is clear, concise, and actionable when you're writing reports to your executive, all right? And in report writing, there's a section that we call the executive summary. And in correlation with the Minter pyramid theory that we just covered, where one of the steps was to first communicate your key statement, it's the same thing. It's the same approach you use when you're writing reports. You start with the executive summary. That is, you start with the ending, the conclusion, and you make sure that in that conclusion, you have your recommendations and you get straight to the point. You should be able to capture everything that's relevant within that executive section and make sure that when the executive reads that report, that written report, that they may not necessarily have to go through the whole report to get the idea of what you're communicating. You should write your report in a way that when they read the executive summary, they are able to action, they're able to understand, and they're able to make a decision based on what they've read from the executive summary. All right? If they have time to read the whole report, well and good. If they have time to read the report, well and good. All right? But due to the demand of the role, they may not have time to go through the whole report. So optimize on your executive summary section. Make sure that whatever you're communicating is clear, is concise, and it's actionable. Actionable in reference to the fact that it can be able to input on the decision making. They can be able to react from that, okay? So I hope that the 5 strategies have been enlightening to you moving forward, and that you will start deploying some of these strategies to improve on your communication with your executive. Because the fact is, our communication has got to be adaptable. The manner at which now we are managing security within organizations entails a collaborative effort. We need the support of the executive. We need the leadership support. So our communication has got to adapt with the change of times. Our communication has got to be adaptable. For purposes of our career development and our career growth, if you want to grow in your career within this industry, you've got to know how to communicate. You've got to optimize on good communication skills via presentation and via written reports. And 2, if we want to drive change within an organization, change that aligns with effective security risk management approaches and concepts, then we have to rely on the support of our leadership. We have to rely on their commitment to help us drive that change within our organization. And by so doing, we're going to be helping organizations tackle the target threats that are coming their way. They're going to be able to tackle these threats that are evolving and morphing and changing every day. And we are going to be driving change within organizations, okay? So we cannot be able to sit back and assume on the critical aspect of effective communication. So that's it on this episode. I hope you found it enlightening and insightful. Kindly like and share if you did. And if you'd like to join our Security Nuggets podcast community and be part of our discussions and engagements and be able to get notified wherever we publish a new weekly episode, kindly go ahead and subscribe, and I'll appreciate that. And until the next episode, goodbye for now.